All right, welcome back to another Lost Cryptids Conservatories live show. Of course, I'm Blake, and my co-host today is the caller kid, James.
Hello.
How you doing, James?
I'm doing pretty good. How are you?
Doing amazing. Our guest today is our good friend Bill. Bill Sowards from Northern Michigan and stuff. He's a great guy and has some great stuff to talk about. So, how you doing, Bill?
Doing good, guys. Glad to be here tonight.
Yeah, of course, and gotta love that intro, man. I definitely enjoyed that. Gabe put that together, and it's a little bit of my bass riff and his guitar playing. And if you guys listen to the outro, it's actually a little different, and he does some soloing with his sax and stuff, so it's pretty sweet. Anyways, we've had you on before, Bill, but it's definitely been a while, and we've had more crazy adventures since then. Let's get into the title of the show is The Wolf and the Bigfoot. Uh-oh.
Yeah, that's they say that's my legacy, I guess. Not too many people respond very well to saying a wolf and a Bigfoot running like they're friends. It's been quite an interesting journey since I've seen that. But just started out one plain day, just out in the woods with the kids, going out looking for rocks. Didn't think anything more of it. Just getting out of the house, trying to make a fire pit. And he's going up and down the trails collecting rocks, and next thing you know, my daughter's kind of got a funny feeling into them. And I'm not gonna lie, I kind of had that same feeling. It's kind of one of those scared feelings you get when, like when you're a kid and you get frightened and you just want to run up the stairs. Kind of one of them deals. But we were out in the woods and going down the trails and picking up stones and dropped something off the back of my truck. And when I did, parked the truck and I had to go back down the hill to get it. It was a tool that I dropped off, and finally found it and worked my way back up the hill. And I started having that real eerie feeling. By the time I'd gotten to my truck, my daughters, they were 18 at the time. They were, you could see it in their faces that they had that same leery feeling that I did. They asked right off the bat, "You ready to go?" And I said, yeah. Why? So are you scared? And they're like, no. But you could see it on them. They were. Well, we had parked on the lower side of the hill on the trail, and when we went to get back in, put it in drive to go back over the hill, we were talking about the Bigfoot that I had seen because I had just seen one on that trail 6 months earlier, almost in the exact same spot. And ironically, they said, "Well, I wish we could see one." And my response is obviously, I wish you could too. It's easier to have somebody back you up. Wasn't probably a couple seconds after they'd said it, we'd crested the hill. And down the hill, the track, probably about 100 feet, so you could see on the left side of the track coming up the hill, it was in the woods, a big black figure. It was just long fur on it. It had the back on it. You could see this, it was like a silvery grayish hair coming down in a V. and it was leaning forward in what appeared to be a run, like it was running. And I noticed, I knew what it was. I had seen it. I said, prior to this. And what was different is we had basically switched spots at the time where I'd seen it, from the first incident. And it had a wolf running behind it. The wolf was staying with it for a good bit, and then when it hit the road or the two track as it was crossing it, the Bigfoot just accelerated. And I mean, I thought they were in a full out run, but apparently it wasn't, because it was able to separate itself, and that wolf was still going, a full run. And we all have dogs. I've raised wolves, been around them. I know what their activity is, their behavior is, the way they run, their play characteristics. Um, this thing really, honestly, my impression was they're running together. It was with it. Well, why they would have that, I would only assume that, it's just like us owning a dog. We look for the companionship. We look for the hunting companionship when you're in the woods. I don't see any difference or anything that would say anything different than a Sasquatch having a wolf as a pet. It's a larger form of a dog. They can be trained just like dogs, and they're loyal, just like a dog. But I'm kind of leaning towards the hunting part. It makes a lot of sense. I've heard a lot of different people say a lot of different things. What do you think they were doing together and this and that? But it looked to me like they were just out for a daily run. I didn't see any activity or anything in between the two that would make me think that the wolf was trying to attack the Bigfoot or anything. It just literally looked like they were out for a daily jog. But we had all felt it before we'd seen it. And that's the only time I'd had an incident like that. I've been in the woods a lot. James, you've been out there with me several times. Very rarely do you get that feeling in the woods of fear or discomfort, I guess. I've only had it twice when I've been out there where I just wanted out of the woods, and well, that was one of the times. But that was what had happened. I had seen, like I said prior to that, the Sasquatch on that trail. My first incident with it was when I was going hunting. I didn't expect to see anything like that. To me, they didn't exist at the time. I didn't believe in them. I didn't believe anything about that. The Bigfoot stories, they were just stories made up. Something I did hear people talk about, but then joke shortly after about it. But my first experience was heading to. I was getting in the woods late going hunting on deer hunting, and I went a different trail. It's a direct route to where I wanted to hunt, but the trail is much rougher than the path that I normally take. So I was getting on that trail. I was going up the hill, and it literally at the top of the hill, it was just getting light out where you could see shadowing, and you could see this walk right across the top of the hill on me. And I sat there for a couple seconds, and it stood behind two trees looking at me. I had my camera out, and I was trying to take a picture of it, forcing the camera to. I was already getting ready to take pictures of big deer running across. There's some bigger bucks that run through there. But got my official blob squatch photo, my very first one. I felt pretty honored about that, just like everybody else's. You can't see anything you can make out a shape and a figure, but that's about it. But so seeing that the second time, having somebody with me was a huge relief. Somebody to verify what I'd seen. My kids, they're both adults. They know what they've seen. It was daylight, just as plain as me and you looking across the front yard and seeing a neighbor. I mean, it's just that simple. It was there. I rushed down the hill after we'd seen it, trying to get another look at it after they'd crossed. And as soon as I got to where I seen them cross, where I'm looking up the hill, and they have these little hogbacks. It had already made it over the hogback, and then it started pouring rain. I was wanting to look for tracks in that, but first I wanted to get my kids home, and then I was going to come back and look for tracks, but it had rained so bad for 2 days straight that it literally changed the ground itself. Any indentations that were there were gone. There was nothing to be found at that time. That's kind of what got me on the hunt for Bigfoot, or the search for the evidence and things that I was looking for, my own personal answers. Yeah, remember, I love the woods and I love being out there, and that's kind of disturbing. Seeing something like that twice at that time made you think a little bit. But that's kind of my what got me going into the Bigfoot was the encounters that I had. That one trail seemed to produce a lot of activity. Within 6 months, apart from my first experience, I had a second one with witnesses. And, not even 100 yards from where I had the first incident at. So that's kind of what got me going. And like I said, that's my Bigfooting route. Met a lot of people, done a lot of things since then. Had a couple people out there show them around, showed some of the activity. Been lucky over the last couple of years. I've found, I don't find a lot of evidence very often. I'm very picky about what I decide is worth looking at, or worth saving, or worth taking a cast at. I'm very picky about it. There has to be certain criteria for me to say, this is Bigfoot related. So I don't get a lot of evidence. Some of it that I've gotten over the years, though, gotten some really good casts. You were with us on the one experience where we found the superstructure.
Before you go into that, I got a question for you.
Sure.
Why do you think the Bigfoot and the wolf showed themselves to you? Did they just not know you were there, or
The only thing I could think of is I've seen the wolves cross back and forth, and there's a smaller swamp, and when you cross the path of where I'm at, you can get to the larger area. I assume, and this is just me, taking a guess, that I could be spot on. Might not be. I don't know. But my theory is there's, they're hunting. You go to a smaller swamp where all the deer are up at, you can take your food back over the big swamp, never be seen for days or weeks at a time because it's so enormous. But if you ask me, I believe they're hunting together. Do I think that they knew we were there? Oh, I absolutely think they knew we were there. Feeling wise, I had the feeling that they were there, minutes prior to us actually seeing them. And if, I'm feeling that they're there and my kids are feeling that they're there, I'm pretty sure they knew we were there. We weren't being quiet. We weren't, was listening to music on the truck, talking and stuff, but we weren't trying to be quiet by any means. Did I think they knew we were there? Yeah, pretty sure they did. They did cross over at a distance, and if they wanted to, they could have just taken a look. We were right there. The first time I know he acknowledged me. There was look staring at me in the trees. The second time, there wasn't any acknowledgement that I was there.
I'm busy.
So they might have known I was there. I'm sure they looked. I mean, you're out in the woods. If you're connected to the woods, you kind of start, you'll see things around you. You'll hear the different birds that are around you. Your different squirrels will chirp off their little warnings, when things are around you. Blue jays, chipmunks, red squirrels, they all let you know when there's something going on. You just got to listen to it. But I'm sure they had to have known we were there. They didn't acknowledge us, but they knew it, in my opinion. That's just my opinion, though. Before we lose James.
Yeah. I've definitely experienced the Blue Jays making calls when we've had activity. Your encounter with the wolf is pretty fascinating. I was listening to a little bit. My phone died and having some connection issues. Yeah, my other phone won't connect, and we don't have the Wi-Fi hooked up. So, gotta bear with me, folks. If I drop out, James will take over. But it's very fascinating. very fascinated with the wolf companionship going on because of you don't really hear many stories of it, or
No.
but in the animal world, wolves are definitely seen cooperating with other animals, or running with bears, running with different, or people too. So why not a Sasquatch?
Wolves are extremely curious creatures. They want to investigate everything, just like we always hear Bigfoot are extremely interested in the activity of humans. Noise, music, parties, things like that. They get their attention. They come around looking. Well, the character of a wolf is the same way. They're extremely curious animals. You hear more often than not the wolf came in and was more curious about us than you hear the wolf came in and attacked our whole party. No, you don't hear that kind of thing. But they are curious. They will come in. They'll sit there and watch you, sometimes for days. Like I said, they're just curious creatures. They might be planning to eat you in a couple of days, but they'll sit around for a couple of days just checking you out because you're making activity. You're doing something they're not used to during the day. That's just my personal experience with wolves.
Exactly. Yeah, they're very smart and go ahead.
Just
Oh, you
like
want me to go? Okay. What's it called? Wait, it was just here. I saw it. Gene Hudson wants to know what part of Michigan you're from.
For me,
Yeah.
I'm all over. Well, I was born in Eloise, but mostly up in Higgins, Houghton Lake area. Just happen to be downstate at the moment, but that's where my heart's at. Higgins and Houghton. Some of the best parts of Michigan.
Oh yeah, and yeah, up around that whole area. Actually, the whole northern half of the state is, gets pretty wild once you get past the rifle line, as we call it. Sasquatch is reported everywhere and stuff. What do you think makes that swamp out there so unique or mysterious? 'Cause there's missing people, and there's I've read older stories where old hunters and stuff are say it's like a dark and foreboding, mysterious place that calls to people. So
Well, if I had to say what makes that place so unique to me is not only do you have the vast openness of it, it's the largest white cedar swamp on this side of the country, but you have all the animals in there. Everybody says, okay, a black bear, big one is 350 pounds. Well, that produces 5, 6, 700 black bears every year, and a lot of them. It's not uncommon to see a 500-pound black bear in there. So you'll get
no, that's massive. Yeah,
that is really big, but it's not uncommon for that area. So you get things that can go in there and live and survive and obviously thrive that are larger. Um, like I said, the one day that I had went out to set up my camp, we'd seen 3 of them. 2 of them, the 2 males that were fighting, well over 500 pounds each. 2 of the biggest ones that I've seen. There's a significant amount of food to sustain their life out there. We have all kinds of fish out there. There's anything from sunfish, bluegills, pike, you name it, trout like crazy. And you've got your berries and your fruits. There's walnuts, hazelnuts, acorns. All that stuff is up there. All your berry varieties, your different roots. Then you move on to the animals. There's a significant population of deer up there. That's why people go. It's a huge deer hunting area. It produces a lot of deer. So you've got food all year round, you've got shelter all year round, and you can stay hidden all year round because man don't go back there.
right.
It does have a mystique about it. I'm not gonna lie. There's times you walk into that swamp and you feel a little eerie. There might not be anything around. It might be a gorgeous sunny day, but there's times where you feel you don't know why, but it's got a little. It's got its own rhythm up to that place. That's for sure.
I would say so.
Yeah, there's been a lot of disappearances out there. The last one with the boy and his girlfriend, or the man and woman that had disappeared out there. That was a lot of that doesn't make any sense to me. there have been people. I think you guys may have touched base on this on one of your.
We did talk about it a couple days ago.
Or did
What
we?
I
Last
Oh yeah, we
with
did.
James.
It was slightly.
with
we
James.
talked about it.
The missing couple with the truck, and
they had been
you go into it and stuff, and tell us the real story. I kind of summarized it basically.
Well, I hunt right there. So we kind of, anybody that hunted the area, you kind of see what the police were doing, the activity and that. And then they would still come around and talk to all the hunters. They made several different trips, wanting to know if we'd heard anything, seen anything. But what had happened was the boy and the girl had been up there hunting. Um, I'm not going to say exactly the name of the trails and all that,
Right.
but they were on a trail. They had gotten stuck in the mud. A couple hunters coming out of that road and seen them, offered them help. They didn't take it. 2 days later, the report came in, they were missing. So the hunters at that time, they told the police about the car. The police came out, looked at the car, and started looking around and investigating it, and then shut everything down up there. Well, what they had found sprawled out within 20 yards of the vehicle were all the things that were necessities to you. Their cell phone was there, so they had the ability to make a phone call. Gloves, hats, scarves, keys, wallet, cell phone, all their things were spread out in the woods around their vehicle. They couldn't find the people. They ran 3 different sets of dog out there. Now, when you run a dog, dogs pick up on pheromones. Pheromones can stay for a long time on the ground. If it rains, it keeps them there actually a little bit longer. Where people think that it washes it away, it doesn't. It actually helps keep it to the ground. Snow being the same thing. Now, these people came up missing, and for a month they ran 3 separate dogs, and the FBI was out there, the state police, DNR, a couple of the local authorities. They were all out there, so it was a massive search. They called it off at the end of that month. I think it was October. They called it off. The weather had gotten too bad. The stream and the creek, the swamp had froze over. They couldn't get any tracks. They couldn't get them to pick up anything. The dogs were just, basically doing the circles. They weren't hitting on anything. So later in the following year, I believe it was April, they came out, and within 2 days of them looking for the people, the dog hit. Now you got to remember, the dogs hit. This is 6 months later or 5 months later. Dogs hit on a signal and take them right to where the couple was. Now they were the initial cause of death was hypothermia. However, they did note that the people did have some drugs in their system. I don't remember what kind or whatever. I don't think it was too bad. I doubt that's what they died from. But they found the 2 people hidden.
In the article, it said methamphetamine.
Methamphetamine. Oh, that's pretty bad. Yeah, that probably is. But still,
that's what the official story is. Yeah.
Yeah. I was telling. Yep. I've been on Facebook with the family, finding out things, back and forth with them that they weren't telling. The police department weren't telling. So, but the fact that they found both of them together, 200 yards, under 200 yards away from the vehicle, in an area they had searched multiple times. Why would you be hiding? What fear drove you to hide under a log and sit there just to freeze to death? You had the ability to get help. You've seen that spot. We walked that spot. You can get out, can walk around. They could have put their clothes on. They could have picked up that cell phone. They could have walked a mile and a half. There's people that still live out there, 24/7 all year round. So they had abilities for help. What stopped that ability? What took their ability away and then drove them into the swamp? Not away from the swamp, into it. It's just things like that. Their materials, their property being all around the vehicle. That's another really strange thing. You hear a lot of these missing 411 calls. Their property was there. They just vanished. There was no sign of them. That's kind of what happened here.
Didn't you say the gun was missing? That was the only thing missing, was a gun.
They didn't know anything
They,
about
or they
their,
couldn't find it. They couldn't find it or something.
I don't know anything about their gun. What
Oh,
only thing I found strange was the fact that they couldn't find them with 3 sets of dogs.
And
Okay.
it was 200 yards from the truck. They would have searched that area dozens of times. I mean, that's the closest. You always, start closer and then work your way out. So I could maybe see the dogs not picking up frozen, rotting flesh, but if you're within 200 yards from that truck, you should be able to spot them by people looking in the area.
They don't hunt by the rotting flesh. That's a cadaver dog. These dogs are hunting by pheromones. The pheromones for the first week are that they're the strongest. They're there on the ground. You can't walk and not leave them. If, like I was saying to James, if you used to take it to rain will help preserve them. It keeps it to the ground. Snow's the same way. After a while, it'll fade off. But you're talking 5 months later, the dogs take you right to them within 200 yards. I don't think they were there the first time that the dogs went through there.
They were.
Oh, sorry.
Go ahead, James.
Didn't you say they were found underneath like a log though in the swamp?
Yep. Under a log, froze up, hidden, crossed down under a log together.
So I don't think you could spot that from a distance. Is what I'm trying to say.
No, you can't see from the road. You can't see the. Next time we're up there, I'll show you exactly why it's impossible for them to have seen them.
Yeah.
It's
All right.
literally impossible. It's so thick, and then when you get closer towards that area, there's hills that come up and down, and if you're sitting behind one of them, you're kind of out of sight totally. So you're really going to have to depend on them dogs, and to have 3 sets run through there, it made no sense at all. None.
Plus, you have dozens of people actually searching and looking, looking behind logs, looking under stuff, looking. I mean, they're trained and they're trying to find, people or bodies. So they do look in these spots and round corners, especially that close.
They had a huge search party. A lot of people. Like I said, hunting there, you could see the road just lined up day in and day out for the first couple of weeks until they decided to call it off. The manpower that they had there, then you've got FLIRs, those were being used, all your technology. If you say 200 yards, I mean, it doesn't make sense. None of it does. But that's just part of the mystique about that area. People are always coming up. You can say it's the bears, or I credit it to false swamp floor they fell through, never got seen again. There's floating islands out there. You've experienced that.
We've been floating on them,
Yeah, there's a few little things like that out there that'll take you out, and when you're gone, you're just gone. But 200 yards from a vehicle, I can't get that over that one.
It doesn't make sense. It's very 411. I mean, straight up. And a couple years before that, there was a missing teenage boy who went missing not too far from that spot.
A few years before that, there was a hunter that came up missing. They ended up finding him eventually, but he had been shot out there. So they haven't figured that one out. You get things like that a lot. And people walk in, they get disorientated. I've done it before. If you don't have your compass on you, or you're not paying much attention, it's easy to get spun around in there. There's no real landmarks. There's not a road that goes back there at all. You go in, you're going in on your feet or with a canoe, which is
it's 35 by 45 miles of swamp wilderness.
Yeah, and if you walk in the wrong way, you might just never come out.
No.
If you keep going straight for a long time, you never see anything probably.
Yeah, there'd be nothing until you hit the south end of that. You come up to another big road. Even at that, you're talking miles and miles.
Go ahead. Sorry.
No, I was just gonna say it's such a huge area. There's so much out there that we know about that's out there. Can you imagine the things that are not that we don't know that are out there? Bigfoot. Whoever thought? Well, I never thought Bigfoot was real. First off, it's never something I got into.
Right.
But now seeing that, knowing that's out there, finding evidence of it, that's been one of my biggest highlights. It's like my own little piece of proof. Then to have your proof validated makes it even more special to me. It's just like verification that you're not really 100% crazy. So having validation.
Exactly. And, speaking of that, you've had other stuff happen there. We've experienced stuff like some orbs and
Right.
um,
I,
I could pull up some pictures if you want. Um,
Now, I'd heard of a lot, everybody that's come out there, people with the BFRO that came out there. I hosted them on a camp out. They were saying something about the blue orb or a blue light. And I've been out there for years, never seen it. I've heard a few other people talk about it, but never saw it. You guys all come out there one evening, and a lot of you guys got to see it. Still never saw it. Well, went hunting with my dog, and some bluish light coming through the wood line, about my height. Uh, so I started taking pictures of it. I took 4 pictures of this, and it didn't come up on 3 of them. It's like the camera didn't pick it up. Excuse me. But the picture that I did catch, the final one, it's just really interesting. It's in.
yeah, I'm gonna try to pull them up if you don't mind.
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, give me a second, guys.
All right.
What I was saying, everybody talked about it, but I never saw it. It took me almost 6 years to see that after everybody saying that it's out there, it's been there. Ironically, shortly before that, her and my wife and I were out there, and the only thing we could describe in that same area of what we were hearing sounded like a baby Bigfoot, like a baby kid. But it was moving through the woods at nighttime, and at one point we could hear what I thought was the mom on one side and the baby behind us, like it was coming around us. But yeah, there's so many things out there that to be seen and heard and experienced. And like I said, I've been out there for 6 years, 7 years now in that one area, and just recently got to see what a lot of people have been describing for years. I had a lot of people ask me what they thought, what I think it is. One of the biggest thing I've heard some people say is swamp gas because it's in a swamp, and I've heard the gas can ignite and make a blue flame or a ball of light looking thing. But this moved through the wood line. It wasn't over a swamp area, and
Right.
that's kind of what made me. I still to this day have no clue what it was, but got a picture of it.
Yeah. Here's the pictures. Here's
Oh
this
wow,
one.
I didn't see that one before.
That just happened up in deer season.
Now you're
Who took
taking.
that
You said
one?
you took.
I
Wait, who
took 4
took that?
and
What
it only
pictures?
came in the one picture. The light
Oh,
didn't.
is this your picture?
Yeah, that's
Oh.
looking straight through my camp, right into the wood line, right next to where we set our tents and everything up. That's actually looking right towards the road that we pull in on, but except for it's
Awesome.
all, you can't see anything. So
And
this
then
thing
we
was,
have a closer up shot of
Yeah.
of it.
Wow,
Yep.
I haven't seen that. I don't know what I haven't seen that one yet.
what do you call that? That's floating
I
in
mean,
the
I
wood.
don't know.
I have no.
That's
How,
awesome.
do you know how high up it is?
Yeah, it's about my height, around 5 foot in the air. I had shown a few other people that I'd taken to camp with me, and I said, hey, describe how this is possible, because it's not. It's all woods there. Somebody said it was the moon. Well, the moon was out that night, but it's above the trees. Even if that was a light from a vehicle, I've never seen a blue one like that with such intensity.
Yeah,
You're not.
there's no way. Plus, you'd see the vehicle and stuff. I mean,
No. Shortly after that disappeared, and I've never seen it again. But like I said, what I find a couple of things weird about it is the intensity of the light, for one. It's not like a light from your flashlight in your car where it actually projects a beam. It's just the all of light. And the other thing I find really unique about it has the ability to just disappear and vanish and not to be caught on film. That's something I don't really quite understand. You're supposed to be taking a picture of what exists and what is in front of you, and for it to not appear on the first three, and then, like I said, luckily it appeared on the fourth one, and then shortly after that, within a couple seconds, it had disappeared. So I had taken that picture and blown it up, but I've never seen anything
That's what
like
this
it.
one is. Yep, the blown up one, and I should have blown it up a bit more. I screenshotted it. I couldn't download it, but I mean that's a amazing picture right here. I mean this is truly.
Do you have
I mean you
the
got an orb. Now this is kind of what I seen. It was white, and it was behind some trees, and it was during the daylight, and I seen it at your buddy's. I can't remember his name, by Sarah's house, basically.
Rich. Yep.
Rich, yep, right there. And also seen the orb at the nighttime. It was flew up into a tree canopy and went behind some branches and disappeared. Basically, it didn't fly out of the tree.
I believe that night a few different people were saying that they'd seen it.
Yeah,
I've heard blue. What I've seen there appears to be the blue, or I don't know if maybe it's different looking or appearance during the daylight. Maybe you see white, but that right there appeared to be definitely blue when I had seen it. Like I said, it didn't look.
Mine looked like if you look at like the full moon during the day, and it's kind of that like white or like a fog light type of look. That's what it looked like. It had no beam of light that was shining, no beam of light when I seen it through the trees, and it disappeared. Then we did start having activity of Bigfoot. Now is it related? I don't know, but it's all in the same area of the missing people, the Sasquatches, and possibly Dogman too. Actually, right? You used to have a picture.
I've got. I always say if you got to draw a circle around it, it ain't worth showing.
Right.
It's one of those. But once you realize what you're looking at, you can't help but to see ears, a snout, and what appears to be crouched down in the woods. But we'd heard it following us the whole time. Me and a buddy, we were out there walking the swamps, and we were coming on the back side of where we bait the bear at, coming around it, and when we started picking it up there, you could hear it. You could never see it because it's so far in, but if you stopped, the noise would stop. It's like when you would have a person in the wood lines following you. So we got to a spot where I finally heard a crack, and I figured, well, I'm just going to snap some pictures in that area. Because like I said, I'm not seeing it. And turned around, did a couple of those, behind your back. I'm not looking. And
right.
Like I said, got to draw a circle around to see it, so I don't throw it out there. But I've heard things. When you live in there, people open up to you about a little bit, and you always hear several people talking about the howls and the screams I can relate to. I was up there with Chuck Sutherland from Time Is Now. He and I had caught some audio. Well, he caught the audio, and we had tried to triangulate to where the sound was coming from. So we were driving around the woods there, call blasting the Ohio Bigfoot call. What came back in response was just a perfect Ohio Bigfoot call. And right following that, you'd get this just terrifying scream every single time. Some people would say that it was one of the Bigfoots calling, and then like that was the male, and then the other response would be the female. Hey honey, where you at? I'm over here. Kind of one of those things, but you'd have to hear the audio. And when I tell people we were call blasting the Ohio Bigfoot, it came back so perfect that people when they hear the recording, they're actually saying, okay, is that the call blast? No, that's the actual response that we had got. It was just so perfect and so loud. So like I said, throughout the evening, we're trying to triangulate where this is at. And we had heard it 4 different times, but we were able to record it one really good time with the, I believe we were using a phone at that time. The audio recorders were down. There were issues with them. So that one recording went and made me want to get some more recording equipment, and we did. So it's just a matter of going up there now, setting up camp, having some fun, and waiting for him to do his thing for some more evidence. At least both.
I heard that call that you and Chuck captured. It was pretty interesting.
It is.
It was interesting the night it happened.
Almost
well,
as scary as that one call that we captured. That was like a scream, pretty close to us.
That was what we were going through. It was that call, the Ohio Bigfoot call, then that squawking response, the whatever that was, and then everything in the woods went off after that. The wolves, the coyotes, I mean everything, owls, everything in the woods went crazy after that. But we would play the Ohio Bigfoot call blasted out there. Usually within a minute, we'd get a response, the same thing. And then we get what we're assuming, or I'm going by, is the female response, because I don't know any other animal that sounds like this in the woods. I've heard bears scream, and I've heard distressed deer, you name it, coyotes, bobcat, cougar. I've heard all of those. So this wasn't anything like any of that. It was so different and such a high pitch that carried for so long, and it only did it in response to when the Bigfoot would make the call, responding to ours. Well, what I thought, like I said, response was just amazing. Is everything in the woods went off after that. I can't play the audio for you because it's on my phone and I'm using it at the moment. But
Oh yeah.
I'm trying to work on some because we captured audio too when we went out there. It was me, you, and Gabe actually in the heart of the swamp. I mean, deep into the swamp, past where the missing people went.
No, we were on the
other
side of Rich's
something.
property, and we were walking in the woods during daytime, and we were hearing long calls in the distance.
Or clack.
Yep. Yeah, we heard rock clacking as well, me and Gabe.
Yeah, you seem to get a lot of that in that area. Not so much the banging on the trees, but with the pumps out there, you'd misidentify that anyway. They got those oil pumps that
we weren't anywhere near the pumps though, so that's why it was interesting.
When me and you got that call at night, we were nowhere near them.
Yeah.
They weren't going. That was a really strange one, dude. That road is that's the one I captured. That picture that says if you gotta circle it.
I didn't see it yet, so
I'll show it to you sometime. It's not a great picture. Like I said, it's not we're putting out there, but that itself has a lot of activity. That's the disappearance, the calls. I think all three of us have heard a call on that one particular stretch of road. But yeah, you're right. It just takes you all the way back, and then once it stops, you're hiking it. You know, you might get in the water. You probably would have to keep going. It's so desolate. So, I mean, it doesn't make sense for anybody to be back there just running around unless you're hunting. And I don't go back there. Hunting season, I tend to stay, a little closer towards the away from the swamp. Get all the bear activity and that. I still hunt with the bear out there, so I kind of tend to stay a little closer to the ground in that swamp. There's so many different things out there. There's so many reports of Bigfoot activities, calls, whoops, people's having knocks on their houses, things that they can't explain. And if you take a look at it, it's mostly the northern side of that swamp, and then when you go to the south side of it, it's around the Riggsburg Dam area. Or the dam area, sorry. And it seems like the two locations you get are just hotbeds. I don't know if they're they're walking through the different areas or what, but there's a significant amount of BFR reports from that area. Prints, well, obviously, we've got our prints, but people around there will all tell you little things when you pull it out of them. You've met with Rich. He lived out there. Anything that happened in the woods, he could hear it. And he's used to it. He knew it. So when he's coming around telling you, I've got this going on, this is happening, he'll call me up at 12 o'clock at night. You got to hear this. It's the Bigfoot out there. Whether people around there will, admit to it being there. A lot of them, it's easier, and I understand, to say it doesn't exist or it was just a bear. I misidentified it myself because they need that personal comfort. When you're living out there, you don't want to know there's something enormous out there that, could take you out in a second. So I imagine that a lot of the people that live out there just, they keep it quiet, they keep it low key, or they try to, in their own minds, identify it as something else. But the ones who aren't, the ones who are confident and know what they've heard, seen, you hear it from them all the time. There's always, I forget how many reports there are just from the BFRO in that area. People like Phil Shaw, he's got a massive amount of reports from those areas. He's tried counties. He's got like 3 different counties that he's got reports on, but there's a significant amount of them. Anytime I go to a conference in Michigan, you always hear somebody around the Greeling or Houghton Lake or somewhere in between. And the thing that ties all those locations together is that swamp, from the north side to the south side. There's just a tremendous amount of area that you can hide in there. Definitely enough stuff to grow on and sustain life, especially a large creature. And if bear can live there, so can Sasquatch.
Exactly.
I remember you telling me about a law enforcement guy that was out there, and he said he saw or heard something. Is there any other people out there that hunt in those areas that, like friends or just people from town that you know about that have heard or seen anything?
Well, one of my neighbors at the time happened to be a DNR officer. So when you hear something or they get a report or something, a lot of times they won't take the report. They don't even write it down. He happened to have a report of a monkey in the area. Somebody said they saw a monkey sitting on the side of the bank. Is this the way you're talking about? I went down.
Actually, yeah, I think that is what happened. Yeah, I do remember that.
He come over and we went down to Regensburg and we were looking all over the place where somebody reported it. And on the side of the bank where we had found what appeared to be like a stick, it was a little tree, had been ripped out of the ground, had the roots on it, just a little thing. But it was being used as a tool to get the clams. Some of these things are massive. But I found a pile of them, thousands of them, or something was sitting there on the log, opening them and eating them, throwing all the shells up. There were thousands of them like that. Didn't find any evidence of a Bigfoot or a monkey or anything like that. But it is, ironic that that's the area still where you get a lot of reports from, and it's right there in the swamps too. It's connected to it. So yeah, it's kind of strange when you get reports of a monkey in an area where you're having people like crazy have reports of Sasquatch. You know that the DNR and the police department aren't acknowledging them. They flat told me that they don't do that. That's not something they have an interest in. It's a taboo thing, and they look the other way. He'd let me know because I had an interest, and then to find that in the area where somebody that didn't even live there felt necessary to make the report. It might not lead a little truth to it, but it's coincidental maybe, but it's interesting to me all the same. I'll take all the little reports like that I can.
Yeah, exactly. It's that wilderness. Once you go up north, you could walk the whole state basically, and there's thousands of ATV trails, snowmobile trails, and all that go crisscross or across the state, up north and south. But we actually captured audio in the swamp bill with Gabe was there, and we walked all the way into the heart of the swamp, and I tried to do a caller kid call because he wasn't there.
Wait, where was this at? Wait, when was this and where was it
at? This was the trip last summer when everyone was there. John from Wisconsin was there with his RV.
Oh yeah, I was there.
Yep, you were there.
You said I wasn't. What are you talking about that one night?
No, you weren't on the walk with us.
Are you talking about like real late at night when like 4 of you went out into the swamp?
Yeah, it was just 3 of us.
When everyone got scared and went back to camp.
Yeah, we went up to where the missing people was.
Chad was with you, right, or no?
No. Nope.
No?
Nope, not that time, no.
Okay.
You'd made a call, and we had listened a couple times and didn't get anything, and then you made another call, and boy, I'll tell you what, you got some interesting stuff out of that one.
Yeah, I got the video. I hope it's the right one because it took a while to download. But let's play it. I think it is. I think it's it. So hopefully the audio is good. Sorry if it's too loud. People be prepared to turn your stuff down. Okay. All right. Here we go. Mm-hmm. Clicking. That is not the right one.
Oh, well, I
can
heard
already tell.
something.
Yeah, that was there was a lot of coyotes that jump into that one too. But that's not the one I was hoping for. So I'm gonna try to redo that. But
All right. Squatch Dog asked a question to Bill. He asked if there's any orbs visible at night. How many? How often are orbs visible at night?
That's the only time I've ever seen an orb out there. I've heard it from a bunch of different people that have been out there. People in our party when we were all out there had said it. I've never seen it. I only saw one, and I've only ever seen it one time. Got lucky on that. Like I said, everybody else had seen it, and I was thinking, what am I doing wrong? How can I not see this? And,
Yeah, I was seeing orbs out there too, but it wasn't that one that you saw, like that big blue one. It was just some like small ones in the distance.
it was like a softball size, or not softball, like a volleyball size, and just going through the wood line there, floating around through there. Like I said, I took a camera. I had and took as many shots as I could, and then finally got the fourth shot picture. It took it, and I kept all the ones prior to it, showing I attempted, and there's nothing there. But yeah, didn't get anything more than the blue light, and then it disappeared shortly after that. So I've only ever seen it once. Um, like I said, I got lucky and got a picture of it. I don't know if there's or what they are, or what they're doing out there. I've heard people try to connect it with the woo part of the Bigfoot. I've heard some people say, well, it's Bigfoot coming in and out of our dimension or realm, or whatever it was that they're trying to connect it. But to me, it's just a ball of light. I can't explain. Could it be? Could be anything. I'm not going to say it's not. It seems like every time I say something doesn't exist, I end up finding out the hard way it does. I don't want to see anything anymore. I'm done finding out things exist. For being rough. Bigfoot didn't exist. Now it does. Ghost didn't exist. Now Ghost exists. Sitting up at camp with Chuck Sutherland. Only thing I could say what was in the sky 2 nights in a row, and thousands of people saw it. Same thing we did with UFO. That's the only thing we could describe the incident that we had up there. It just seems like I don't know what it is about the area, maybe because it's vast and there aren't as many people as you get in the urban city. And I get that. That's kind of why people like to go up there. You get that freedom. But it seems like the more you're around it and the more you're able to look and to relax and just start checking things out, the more things that there are to see. Like I said, I'm not going to say that orb isn't some type of whatever they were trying to say. Everybody's got their own opinion. I'm happy that everybody does. Take your opinion, form it, and tell us why we're right. Don't just be happy to take another person's opinion and run that as fact. It doesn't hurt to try and debunk something. Because by doing that, you're learning about it. So anytime you can try to say, okay, it doesn't exist because of this, you might end up finding out just the exact opposite. It does exist because of that. So yeah, question everything. I question that. I question everything. Well, they say question everything, even if your mama tells you you love her or she loves you. Question it.
Yeah, you should have been in the last live stream or the last couple live streams. We talked about like everything weird and stuff.
A lot of weird things goes on in that area, but anywhere else.
No, not there. I'm just saying in general, like everything,
Right.
like
Yeah,
different creatures and just weird conspiracy theories, basically.
there's a lot of them.
Yeah,
There's a lot.
we went pretty deep in the rabbit hole, but it was just like scratching the surface, basically.
My theory is this. This is just my opinion. I think they're flesh and blood. I found hair. I found the hair underneath of a structure. It was a teepee structure. I actually found it in the structure, and I showed it to Dr. Meldrum. After looking at it, he asked me for a sample of it. Then he told me he couldn't match it, and then they're waiting for a DNA testing on it. So that's been a couple of years, but you never know what you're going to find out in them woods. I found hair, tracks, structures. I don't say every single structure wood is a Bigfoot thing. I'm really, really hard about that one. Trees fall, and they fall in some really cool shapes and designs at times. But say it's all Bigfoot. Now, if you've got something big, round, and held together with a stake or something that's taken your hands to form it, well, I lean towards it a little bit more. It doesn't necessarily mean I'm going to say it's always Bigfoot. I've only found a couple structures ever that I would say, okay, yeah, definitely Bigfoot. One is the large structure that was found, and then there was another one further up. Yeah, that's that big old tree sticking out of it. That's a massive structure. Yep. At one point, you could climb in there. You can still get in it, but you have to be down on the ground. Inside the structure, we had found handprints. What looked like a knuckle print, but a handprint. And the handprint was extremely large. I ended up messing it up when I stepped on it, but inside that structure, there were handprints found. There has been footprints. I think there was 5 or 6 different prints found. There's the hand around that structure. That structure is made of trees, large trees. A lot of them have been actually ripped out of the soil and had the balls still attached to them. Some of them, you can see them, are 8, 9, 10 inches around. Some of them are large, some of them are small, but there's a lot of roots around the structure. There were holes where it had ripped the trees out and still had some of the feeder roots still sticking out. The one on top there, I think that was like 40 foot long. Just a massive tree. And it was thrown up in there.
It's massive.
Yeah, it's a pretty large structure. The thing that gets me about the structure more than anything that I've never seen, I haven't even heard of it, is when you're walking around the outside of the structure, you'll see all the little trees, like 1.5 inches in diameter. They're pulled into the structure and they're woven, through the tree's branches. One of them goes from one side all the way to the other and pops back out. Now, I don't know if they do that for type of terrain or maybe over a period of time it'll grow and help keep it up, or if it's just camouflage. Yeah, that gives you a better idea right there. I'm only 5'10". I'm just kidding. I'm 5'5", standing in that door.
Yeah, it's a better. That looks a lot better when you have you standing next to it. It gives a scale.
Is that the original photo?
That's the original. Yep. That's shortly after finding it.
Because back then it was still like standing pretty high. Now it's kind of knocked down.
Yeah. The other one I believe you showed was it was down quite a bit. Like I said, when it first was made, there.
Yeah, right here.
Yep, it's come down a little bit. Time or something is taking it down a little bit, but it's been there for a couple of years. Here's what happened: we were looking for Bigfoot signs and trails, and I also love to hunt that area, so I look for signs of buck. And we had just walked that trail Chuck and I had, and there was nothing on there. Now, when I say a trail, it's not a trail in the sense that you can take your car down there and drive. You couldn't do it at the time. You still couldn't do it. There's so many trees. It's an old log out road, so they would use that for access, come in there, and then take the wood out. That right there is the knuckle prints that I found, the handprint, and it matched up with the width of the nails of the claw marks that we had found on the tree. But that is a really hard area to get to, that trail. So when I say trail, it's like I said, it's not
Yeah.
this big trail, everybody can have access to it because it wasn't. And that's sitting down in a lull where that structure, it also happens to be right where all the deer travel. So a lot of things run through my mind. Was it put here? Somebody said it could be a birthing spot, a temporary thing. Young Bigfoot could be making a new home or a little hunting hut. Uh, I don't believe it was made by man. We found absolutely no sign that man could have made it. There's no chain marks, strap marks. There's no machinery. Some of this would have had
Plus,
to
you
have
took
machinery.
casts.
What's that?
You took casts. You have footprints and stuff, and you actually have evidence of Sasquatch making the structure because you have, I believe, this picture.
Those pictures, some of those actually have metatarsal breaking in them still. The hands, like I said, the hands match the scratch marks that were on the tree that was pulled down. It was standing at the time, but now it's completely down. But if you ask the BFRO or you ask any of these other big groups, they tell you that this doesn't exist. That this right here, what you're looking at, doesn't exist. They said that they've never found a structure with handprints and footprints and things like that around it. Well, here's my thinking. You can't make something in the woods that size and not have some type of evidence as to what made it. Normally, you'd find chainsaw marks or axe marks, a truck pulled back to it, so there's tire marks. We don't walk through the woods and not leave a sign, period. What built that? Only thing that left behind is prints, literally. So if you take everything and you add it together, the size of the trees, the fact that these things were ripped out of the ground, try to rip a 1.5-inch old, just say a oak tree. Go and find a little 1.5-inch oak tree. Try to rip that puppy out of the ground. It's rough. This thing, whatever it was, and I'm saying Bigfoot, it ripped out trees with massive roots, and they're still attached with all the dirt when it threw them up on there. So if you look at the size of the structure, the way the structure was built, the things that we found inside and outside of the structure, that leads me to say this is a Bigfoot. Whether there's somebody else will admit it or not, that leads me to say that. I didn't see it built, but within 1 week of me walking up and down that path, that was put in there. I couldn't do it. Not without machines or straps or a hoist or something. Everybody, it's easy. I've heard a lot of people say, a couple people, hunters did it. It's a hunting blind. There's no shooting spot. There's no lane to hunt from in the structure. And like I said, the only thing that makes sense to me is Bigfoot built it. Why it did it, I don't know. But the evidence is all sitting there. I still got it. I believe Chuck's got some of it. I've got some of it. You even have a couple pieces of it. You've got the cast, right?
Yeah, I was about to show it, but this picture's in the way.
Oh, you got yours. I still got a cast that was authenticated by Dr. Meldrum. It's different from all these, but it was found down that really close 2 sections over from that. I could show that.
What I also find interesting is that there was also a deer print inside of one of the Bigfoot prints. That was really cool. And we got the casting of it, right? Chuck has it, right?
Still got that, yeah. I never seen anything like that. Wherever this thing had stood, and it looked like it stood ripping a tree out in between it, and it left prints. A deer would come along afterwards and stepped in that same print. And when we cast the footprint, it came out in the cast. It was actually pretty neat. Yeah, I've never seen that before. I believe that Mr. Sowards got that one. So there's a lot of evidence that has come out of this one area. It seems like every time we go out there, something to be heard, something's to be seen, whether you pick it up or not. I'm sure You getting your cast? There it is. Yep. What I like about that one is if you look at it, it shows the mid-tarsal break in that one.
Hold on, let me find it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's great. It looks good. I mean, it kind of looks like the one I got, actually.
Nice. I wish we could have made them a little bit thicker, but
you can kind of see toes in this one, so it's not awful.
Would you care if yeah, there you go. I got a couple minutes. Give me about 30 seconds. I'm going to grab my cast.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah.
I'll actually, I'll go get my cast too, actually. But I'm trying to download this other video. I think I got the audio that me and James and Gabe captured during the day ready to go. So after you get back, we'll play that.
Sounds good. I'll be right back.
Yep.
I think the mid-tarsal is like right here. It's hard to see it. I don't know.
Yeah, it is hard to see, especially.
I remember I took a picture and sent it to Bill of where it was. I just can't spot it right now. It wasn't that great, but you could find it in here. On this, I just don't remember where it was. Oh yeah, it was like right here. I think.
Well, I still having some connection issues, I think, but let me rejoin real quick.
All right.
I've got toes. They're flirted on it. Your pad.
How long? I got a tape measure right here. I can tell you how long it is.
18 and a half inches.
Is that your guess? Hold on, let me flip it upside down. That's probably easier.
Or that one is 16 and a half. This is a cast that we had found by the water. There was a deer mandible where it had been chewed on, some deer fur. Found that print. It had all 5 of the toes on it. And it's got the mid-tarsal break right here. I don't know if you can see that very well. I had asked Dr. Meldrum, well, I believe you were there with me.
I was there.
First off, I asked him, I said, do you believe that this is an actual cast? And I explained to him, there's a lot of people in the area that know what I do and what I'm looking for. It wouldn't surprise me to have somebody fake something out there. Now, to fake something and have me walk upon it is good, that would be really one in a million odds. But for me to have actually found this, he looked at it, him and Cliff Rockman did for like an hour, and he said, yeah, he believes this is truly and he showed me a bunch of reasons, but he says, yeah, this is a Bigfoot print. He believes it's real and it's true. So we got that, authentication from him verifying it. So it's kind of nice to have something from Michigan verified by one of the world's leading experts in anthropology and a study of a few other things. But I kind of like to get that hair sample back from him. I found that.
I believe I actually heard something on it. I believe he was on a interview. I can't remember which show, but I believe he's actually has a bunch of them collected, like the most prime ones. He has them and he's waiting for an official test. That's called money.
Yeah, so, he said it's a decent amount of money, and they have to have funding for it. That's why I haven't heard anything back from them. But I'm being patient, and apparently some of the key things with the hair are there. So it leaves a little. It makes me think that it might be something. I told him, it could be whatever it is. I don't care what it is. Just let me know if it's something you can identify it. I've taken the hair samples to DNR and a few other people up there. They're not able to identify it, visually. Put it with another animal. Like I say, in the circumstances in which I found it in a teepee structure, and then the hair matching the wolf, or the hair even on the back of the squatch that I'd seen. He had a big patch of green on the back. I don't know what it belongs to. If it was wolf, they'd have been able to tell that right away. It'd be something that
Right.
they're familiar with. He has strands of wolf hair from every stand or every different type of species. So if it was something that existed that they knew of, he'd been able to identify it. And the simple fact that they're not able to match it, leads credence to the fact, it's probably Bigfoot. That's kind of
Yeah.
I just want to know, if it's not, tell me it, belongs to a rare white porcupine with hair, and I'm good with that.
Yeah. Something.
But tell me it's something.
Well, since we're doing show and tell, I guess I'll.
Yeah, I found the mid-tarsal. That's where I put this pen at. You can kind of see like a little overlap. It's hard to tell, but there's a little bit of overlap.
Can you turn that one sideways for me?
Blake's.
Mine?
Yeah, I want to look at it. There you go.
It's missing. It's missing. If you're looking at it, it's actually missing half of it. So it doesn't have a heel. This would be the ball of the foot. Kind of. So basically, the bottom of it is the ball where the arch would be, and then the heel was actually in water. I couldn't cast the heel, so it's actually just like the upper part of your foot.
Sure. Yeah, that's the one of the. He was saying we have an arch, whereas they don't.
Yeah, bone.
That's nice. But you never know what sometimes you can collect hair in them when you're putting a cast. I've collected hair in some of mine. They just ended up being deer or some other little critter. But you can find things like that.
I measured it, and it's about 13 or 14 inches, depending on where you measure it from.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so I'm guessing it was one of the kids or the teenagers.
Right. This one was 18 and a half from toe to heel, and I think it was 9 crossed. And like I said, too, when I asked Meldrum, I told him, I said, what size would this be consistent with because there's a formula you can measure a foot to get your height and the distance between straight. I was explaining it to him, and he said, yes, it's consistent with something 9 foot tall. And I know what I seen was 9 foot because when it was standing there, I took a picture. There's a stick standing out, and its head was right there. I measured that stick, and that's 9 foot tall, almost exactly. So to find the print and, to have Dr. Muller say, yes, it's consistent with something, one, not only that size, but the species due to, his own studies with prints and as a fluctuation of the heel or something like that. I know he's really big into movement. And like I said, his verification with that meant a lot.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, it just verifies your encounters and stuff in the area, like you were saying.
It's just that area. It's that area. I've been to a lot of different places. I've been places with you guys. I've been places on my own, and I love to camp out. I've not come across any of the things. I've not heard anything. And I'm sure they're not just only in my area. I'm sure there's got to be a significant amount of them, spread fortunately throughout the state. And sightings is what's going on now. Why that area? It's woods all over the place. There's food. They got everything you need. Food, water, shelter.
Exactly. It does, and a great hiding place that it's just dense that people, modern day people still haven't. I mean, I'm sure there's places people haven't been in probably 50 years. I mean, I'm sure some old school guys, or maybe not. Maybe there's places no one's been, but it's definitely been a while. And well, we got some more of another video to play. I believe my cast was 17 inches by 9, so very close to what yours was actually, Bill. Yeah. But this the Waterloo cast that is packed away. I don't have it. Yeah, I'm not gonna be able to get that right now. That one is not as good, but you can see a very good heel to it. It does have very good human heel to it. But it was cast it. It was basically you know how you kink your ankle, and basically that's kind of what it looked like in the mud. Like the mud gave way and it like turned it sideways, but very good heel to it.
That's when it slid. You could tell it slid about that far. Some of the neat little things to tell.
Yeah. This I believe is going to be. Hopefully the audio is good on this. During the daytime at Sarah's place, we were trying to look for Sarah, and we got this response or call.
It was funny, but you could hear that background.
Yeah, I'll let me play it again for the people to hear it again. Yeah.
That's pretty neat during the daytime. Usually I'm gonna
Yeah. It was yeah, we were hearing clacks. We heard that. We kept going, and I believe me, James, and Gabe split off. I went up the 2-track. They went down the 2-track. They were heard. Well, what'd you guys hear, James?
Wait, what? Sorry. We weren't on no 2-track. We're in the middle of the forest.
No, yeah, but when we went to the 2-track, we separated, and you guys had more audio.
Something did happen. You went one way to the right, and then we went to the left and kept going down a 2-track. I did a call, like a really long one, and then like maybe like 5 seconds later, there was like a whistle like 50 feet away from us.
No.
It wasn't like a bird either. It was like an actual like a human whistle type thing.
Yeah, this is Sarah's by Sarah's house, Rich's house.
Yeah, it was down those 2-track trails on the other side of his house, basically.
Was that up the hill?
Yeah, up the hill.
If you go past his house on that 2 trail, we went across those woods all the way.
You go left, and then.
Me and you and Chad walked it, looking for Gabe's recorder. Remember that, Bill?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it was that 2-track.
Right in those woods. And that 2-track that we started on, that's when we separated. So they went down that towards that lake or pond, and they got that response. I went up it.
Yeah,
they went down.
Going up, that's where she lived back in there. You know, it was him.
Yeah.
There's a couple of them swore to that. Rich had a friend named Mike. He'd seen it a couple times too, but they both swear that she lived up in that woods. There's a couple little watered areas up there you can find them, but they're hard to come by. That whole area is just steeped in mystery. You've got things out there like the meteor crash. There's big indentations. That's kind of a neat spot too while you're out there talking about weird, because you can stand there with your what do you call that, compass, and watch it literally sit there and spin. And then when you move away from the crater, it doesn't spin anymore. It gives you your true north and south and that. You got little things like that, the sounds that you hear at nighttime out there that you just can't identify. You can't put with any other kind of known animal. Things like that kind of lead credence to the fact that they're out there. Then you take in the fact that you have so many different reports. You've got visuals. You've got people talking about the prints that they find, or I heard this scream the other night outside my house that was terrifying. They'll call their neighbor, but they don't call outside that. You know, they stick within their circle. But when you get to talking to them, the first reaction, a lot of people up there, they'll look at you and smile. It makes you think. They don't want to throw it right out there on your lap until you tell them some of the things that you've experienced, show them some of the stuff that you've caught on audio or video, and then people open up around there. And when they do, there's just all kinds of stories that people weren't willing to tell me until I got, used to them, or, let them know how I feel about it, so that they didn't feel insecure or stupid, coming to me with a story of the boogeyman. And it's understandable. You just got to sit there and let them talk and take them serious for what they're telling you, because some of the things that I found are most hard to understand or believe in are some of the things that out there you kind of have to, because it's truth out there.
Yeah, and there's people that straight up don't believe that anything's out there. I talked to one person at a gas station who said he lived in the swamp with his dad and says there's nothing out there. And he kind of laughed at the idea of Bigfoot out there, and but if you're not really in the know and you're not really looking, you might associate those sounds with a wolf or coyotes, or that was a deer making that rustling and stuff. So
right, you'll contribute it to anything other than what you're trying to believe.
But we know the truth. We've experienced it, and it's definitely out there in large numbers.
Yeah, I don't get to be one of them people that say if or maybe or what. It is. It's there. It's alive. It's true. It's real. I found that out. So now I'm just trying to find out what it is, why it's doing it. What is it? We all know that it's something fur or hair, or it's huge. It's got big feet. But other than that, nobody knows anything about it. Everybody has a theory that you can run with that theory and try to make everybody else believe it. You can come up with a good backstory for why you think that. But I tell everybody the same thing. When you're trying to figure it out for yourself. Don't, there's certain things that you can take from some people that are quote unquote experts. Don't be a big believer in the experts, because in order to be an expert in something, you have to study that field. Study what it is you're an expert of.
Exactly.
Because I don't know anybody sitting down breaking bread with Bigfoot at nighttime discussing his day. Until we do, credible. Credible is a big thing. I feel weird calling somebody an expert. I'm not an expert. I've been out in the woods. I've seen things. I've collected things, and I can tell you what I've seen, what I've heard, and what I know. But doesn't mean I know everything about them. There's so much that needs to be found out. With knowledge, we don't have it.
So I don't know if you saw what happened there, but I was listening to my audio recorder to find the whistle, and I did a call right before it, and it like blasted my ear.
Nice.
But I heard it. It was like a yeah.
Yeah, you guys got stuff, and
then Gabe did it right back, and then nothing happened.
It's sad that Gabe lost his audio recorder, because I think it was going the whole time. Sarah found it.
I think he lost it before we. I think we lost it before we got on that 2-track. It was somewhere in the woods. So.
We're not sure. We looked and looked and looked, and
there's proof sitting somewhere.
Yeah, we'll find maybe.
We're planning some trips out there. Pretty extreme trip, I think, and sometime, who knows, but we're definitely going out there, and we're bringing some flare technology this time around. Definitely better audio equipment. I mean, we're just so much better prepared for what's going to happen than just what we did have.
Oh, I totally understand the not being prepared part. Some of the best, how long I've waited to get that audio recorded? Had a audio recorder upwards 100 times with other people. But you can't make it do it when you want it to. I wish I could, but that's why I feel so lucky just to get a couple little things that I have over the years. When I see people going in the woods, every single time they're coming out with Bigfoot, or they've seen Bigfoot that time, or it's hard to believe, but it's constantly always finding something, because I know it's so hard in an area where I know that there's more than one. I'm pretty sure there's at least 3, mother, father, and a juvenile. And I'm pretty sure I know that there's supposed to be that are out there. But finding evidence of them seems to be almost impossible at times. Where you got to stumble on it at just the right time because out there in the environment things disappear.
Oh,
Gabe's not been on here in a while because he's working.
let's see if this works. No, maybe not.
What are you doing there? Is that your GoPro?
No, this is a flare.
Oh, your FLIR. Okay.
Yeah,
Nice.
I'm trying to. I was
Is
trying
that
to
the
make
one
it.
John had?
Yeah, this is a different one. Well, maybe.
Wow, it looks pretty
I
similar.
mean, this is not his.
Oh, you just bought one that looks like it. Okay.
I got to start buying some cool equipment and stop buying so many guns.
Use your tax
Yeah.
return.
Man, I almost got it. Anyways, you're actually looking at me through a mirror. That's how good this flare is. It can actually see and reflect through a mirror.
It's hard to see
Back
it,
at
but
me.
I can see. Yeah.
I know. I gotta work on some stuff. There was actually an issue with it. It actually will not record video, even though you can do it. So I have to send it to Flare, which they were going to be doing that. But other than that, it works great. You mean, ain't nothing that's going to be able to hide. Especially when we have multiple flares, different types. So we could actually, spread out and coordinate and maybe box in something. So that's kind of what the game plans are. Once winter gets off, is we're going to go to some of these areas and try to get them on flare. Really,
that'd be great. That'd be real good.
And I personally want to go out to your area, Bill, because of the experiences I had there, and I don't know if it's calling for me, but that place is definitely
it's always
on like another level than other places I've been to.
It might just be COVID. You just want to get out and go get evidence.
No, since I got back from Bill's spot, I've been wanting to go right back up there. Because they had everything. We had, orbs, Bigfoot. We had
UFOs.
Yeah, exactly. So
June 8th, 9th, and 10th. I'm pretty sure we got a camp out going on up there. Other than that, I usually go up there, once a week, once every 2 weeks. Don't always get into that area, but I'm always up there. I said we got a camp out going on June, so I know on that time we'll be there.
Is that what Chuck?
Yep. Time is now our annual camp out. I think you were there with our last one, weren't you?
No, I didn't go.
Yeah,
I think you're thinking of Tyler.
I met to that one, Gabe through there. I met I met a few different people through there. A lot of good people we've met through there. I can't wait to have our next camp out. Kind of excited to see your guys' conference too.
No, I met you through Chuck.
Yeah. It's gonna be right around the same time. Yeah, about to get together with each other.
Yeah, we definitely want to go out there. It's just planning on when, but definitely not when winter's here. We want to be able to get out in the swamps and
right. Well, though, if the swamps are froze over, you can get back in there a little easier.
Right, that is true. I'd be down for it. I know some people don't like going out in winter. I'd be definitely be down for it. And plus, the bears aren't around, and the only bad thing about winter is it takes a toll on your technology. Even the flare can only work up to 4. Yeah, the battery life, it sucks. It's draining and it's harder. I mean, but if you could have an area where I guess recent activity can definitely work, because it within a few hours you got to find more battery sources. And
yeah, I've always wanted to get on the radio station. Some really recent activity. I know a couple. Well, now it's been a couple months, but I was out there in the woods and we had some activity going on. About a week later, it's coming through over a Facebook. Somebody, I just caught it. Somebody sent it to me. And if somebody never heard of, it's just like little things like that. Pick them up here and there, but I'd love to have the maybe set it up with the radio station or something like that, where we start getting some people that are local that live there who are having recent or really recent experience, kind of like a response team to a really local or a close call. That was something that way you're there quick. Did I lose you?
No. I just turned my camera off.
Oh,
The audio is like not doing so hot.
almost
Wanna
lost
try?
me, or maybe that's you. I don't know.
Oh, maybe it's me.
I can see me.
I can see you, yeah.
I'm gonna try to see if real quick I can get that audio. I just don't want to lose you. However, that audio is pretty. It's pretty neat.
Yeah,
If
go
I can get
ahead.
it, I just don't know if I'm gonna disappear. If I do, I'll come right back.
Your audio should still be working, but after like 2 minutes, it'll cut out. You'll have to rejoin.
Okay. Well, I'll just send it to you some other time. Your other shows, you can
Okay.
throw it out there.
I think I'm gonna try to hook up this little thing to the TV so I can show the flare a little bit. But you were talking about a response team. Was that where you were talking about
Yes.
for
I'd love to be-
Bigfoot sightings?
Yep.
Yeah,
What's
it's what we kind of trying to do that. It's not as easy as it says, but we definitely have been doing that. We took some reports that we had got, and
I'd like to be able to get to something within 48 hours of a sighting. Especially
yeah.
if you can collect some kind of
Well, it's
evidence.
the hardest thing is having people who want to report that, but also a place to that people recognize and to know, because the only reporting system is the BFRO. Really, I mean, that's like the biggest one, maybe the first one, especially non-Bigfoot community members go to because it's recognized. I mean, it's kind of the biggest thing. Smaller teams who want to try to do that face is that they don't have the recognition of people know where to go to report it.
Right. Where do you go? Like you said, the only thing most people know is BFRO, and there's nothing that's responsive out in this. If you call the BFRO up and you have them come out, it'll take a significant amount of time, and you're gonna have to have a decent amount for them to come out and look at. And to be honest, I've seen I've met quite a few of the people that come out and will do their investigations. And I think some of the people may need to spend a little more time in the woods, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Not saying
Yeah.
that every a lot of people they need to train better. Just to be honest. Get your audio up.
No,
There's a guy posting weird links in chat that I went to, and it's not Bigfoot related. So some mod wants to handle that. It's on Facebook though, so.
oh, that's probably I'm not seeing it. I was like, what?
Yeah.
I don't get some comments. Oh, I actually got it right here. Yeah, definitely don't be doing, especially if it's a spam.
Yeah,
you're
that's
gonna
what
be
it looks like.
totally deleted off here. But I think I got my flare working here. Let's mess around a little bit with it. I think I need, if I don't get it fixed soon, because we are actually going on the trip. Me, Chad, are going to Bigfoot Odyssey's Florida expedition.
Nice.
And I was hoping to have this ready to film, but if I don't even have it sent to Flare yet, so I don't think I'll be ready to film with it. But I'm thinking about I could have an adaptation.
Your phone camera to record through the lens, right?
Yeah. A little bit. It can.
No.
So yeah, you can see my beard and stuff. I mean,
Yeah.
through the flare. So I mean, it's pretty good. It's pretty sweet. I mean, you can see literally everything. It's not cheap. So we're really hoping to actually capture
Oh,
stuff
wow.
that's white hot.
Is that you right now?
Yeah, that's me.
Oh. It looks really weird, so that's why I'm asking.
No, yeah, this is black hot and stuff. So we got different stuff, different settings. Yeah, it's
Like King Rock. Now you're red imaging.
Yeah, it does a lot.
That's pretty neat.
That last one was basically for what's it called? Anyways, it's that one's specifically made to spot animals or people, fugitives out in the woods. So I can't remember what it was called, but it does the white hot with the red. Yeah, so we are going to be using that, and you can pick up targets for several hundred yards. So
pretty crisp. That'd be nice to have out there in the open area, especially in that swamp where even at that, the bear would be kind of neat to see out there in the evening time.
Anything, yeah. I mean, anything. So I think I might be getting an adapter to plug into a computer or a phone or a tablet and then screen record it. So it will take video, but as of right now, I got to send it to Flare, but
I've been dying to get a little flare on what do they call them, little helicopter things they fly around.
Oh, drones.
That'd be nice to see a flare. Yeah.
Hopefully you don't drop your flare though.
Yeah. No. This is a I've been thinking about getting insured and stuff actually, because I don't,
Yeah.
It's pretty great technology. I mean, I was thinking of making some videos of comparison videos for like us in the woods. I mean, you could instantly tell I had clothes on. You could tell I had beard. So I think we might be doing some testing on it and showing you guys and some different cool stuff. But if we do get some great footage, I mean, we're already going to be able to tell the size difference if we have another person exact spot. I mean, you'll definitely be able to see a difference if you can't see the detail. So I'm pretty excited about it.
Even if it's the red image that you're looking at, you can still tell if something's wearing clothes or not.
Yeah, exactly. And other team members have flares, different models. I think we all have different models actually. And pretty sure they all record. And I mean, we're excited. I know they were just up north over at Erner. Yeah, and they were using them and didn't see anything. I don't think they had any activity, but definitely awesome.
They found a lot of structures, what I heard.
Oh, okay, sweet.
I don't know if they're like Tyler said they looked pretty old though. That's all I heard.
And it is winter, and I think they kind of only go out when the weather's bad or when the weather hides their tracks, because they can kill a bunch of deer and stockpile them for the in the freezer.
Right. They don't have to go very far for a refrigerator. I have that audio. Trying to pull that up, but I don't think I'm gonna be able to. However, I'll send it to you if you want to some other time. Take a throw it up on one of your talks. You're more than welcome to. That's
we'll have a show. We'll put you back on so you can present it. But yeah, that'd be awesome to do.
Yeah, anybody looking to see it right now, I don't have it. It's actually Chuck Sutherland's recording. He has it on his.
It was on his Facebook when I saw it, but I'm not sure how far back that would be.
I think that's Time Is Now Facebook page. But he's got it on there. He loops it a couple times so that you can hear it. It's just quite a reminder. Different from hearing it and being in the woods and hearing that, in the total dark is a totally different experience.
Exactly. Well, and that's why we want to definitely, team up with you guys, because when we go out there, especially if having these teams, we can triangulate, find it, audio record it, and then send people in with flares, and we should be able to get something.
Triangulate its location and have everybody center in on it. That'd be great. That's kind of what we would call. We would call blast it. It would sound off when we drive around. So we kind of triangulate. We heard it 4 different times that evening. And like I said, every time we heard it, it would sound off. And within a minute or two, the other thing would sound off. Then everything would sound off. But it was in the one area because we were able to drive around it at the 4 different points in which we heard it. We could tell where it was at, and it was always that center section right off of our camp. It's a hard to get into spot. Right in the center of the area. It's a huge opening. Like I said, you can't see that from outside the area, only when you're in it. So it's a beautiful spot to hide, and it's not an easy one to get in and out. And I believe that's probably why they were in that area. That also there's so many deer that lay down there that you're hunting, and everybody says that they hunt deer, and I believe that. I've not in this area here, but at one point up in Houghton Lake, I found some feces that were bigger around than a Coca-Cola can and longer than 2 of them put together. My son actually found it. So me, when I'm out in the woods, I find something like that, I want to know what it is. What ate it?
Right.
What it was, what kind of meat it was. So I broke it down. And you can automatically start seeing the large chunks of venison. You could smell the venison meat still. This distinct smell of deer. I mean, you cut up a few of them.
Yep.
So if you could look a little bit more, and I could find parts of hooves, and then you can find the brown, black, and white tip for the deer here. They're very specific. They're different, but they're here. Pretty obvious what animal it is once you find it. So we were finding large chunks of meat in the species that you and I couldn't swallow, period. It would kill us. We'd choke to death. But it was all big chunks like that. And at the time, I didn't know anything about Bigfoot. It didn't exist to me then. I didn't believe in it. I just found it ironic, not ironic, just interesting to find a thing of feces that big with that kind of material in there. Something big enough to swallow large chunks of meat and hoof and things like that nature was in it. But like I said, at the time I didn't know. I wish now I would have been able to take a sample of that and try to do a little bit of DNA with it. I'm sure it would be a great outcome. I don't know anything else in that area that could have done it. And that was around the same time we had found at the time I didn't know what it was. I didn't know anything about Bigfoot feet or anything like that. We found this huge indent right next to the feces, and I always kept thinking it might have been a footprint. Now, after seeing the handprint inside of the structure that we found, it's that. It was like something that had its hand down, went to the bathroom, and then it was gone. But what an amazing just chunk of meat. That's what got to me the most, is that just the huge chunks of meat that this thing's able to swallow and then pass through. It was
that's kind of
an
iron gut for sure. I mean, I can't really imagine. I mean, I don't know. I mean, also, I mean, it must be passing through fast, because wouldn't those chunks like disintegrate in the gut, stomach, and stuff like our foods? I mean, kind of.
Yeah, you figure the your gases inside the body would break that down, but it wasn't broke down like that. These were still large chunks of meat. When you broke open, I'm not trying to be sick or anything, but once you break it open, you can see literally the chunks of meat were still identifiable as just large chunks of meat. They weren't broke down like that, but they weren't huge either. These were just huge chunks of meat, like it was able to take a big old bite and swallow thing. I don't know if monkeys or primates are able like that, but that's
Well, you think you would want to chew your food to process it and make it come out better. That's kind of weird. It kind of raises some questions about how their metabolism, their body gut actually works because if it's that seems pretty fast. I mean, it's in and out. I mean, is it enough time to even like drain all the nutrients out of it? And I mean,
Yeah, I would think that I would need more time to break down and pull what it needs from it, but apparently not with whatever this was. Like I said, I don't know what made it. It's just
it could be another cryptid, but
it wasn't bear. I know it ain't cat or anything like that.
I don't think. I mean, I really don't know. Maybe you do find big chunks in bear feces, but usually it's
Um,
more
I found
omnivore-ish, more plant life and stuff.
right, you get a lot of that with bear, and you'll get what do they call that? It just so happens I came across it, so I'm gonna eat it, kind of thing. If
Right,
they're looking,
scavengers.
yeah, scavenger, they'll eat anything like roots, berries, bugs, the same old stuff.
Yeah, these are black bear. They're not grizzly bears, so they're eating everything and
Sure.
venison, but mostly other things.
But if you ever look in feces, bear feces, and you break it down, you don't get the size, and you don't get that kind of content. I've never seen large chunks of meat in bear, and you guys have seen. You've been out my his spot. You find bear feces all the time. You can't walk down the one trail and not find it. There's so much. I've never seen anything like that. Like I said, I can't say with any certainty it's this or that. It's just that if you take away everything else that it's not, you ain't left with about a couple things. And bear, unfortunately, would be one I would have to consider because of the size of
Right.
the animal. However, I've never seen it in a bear species before. And then you got this Bigfoot creature running around. I don't know what it looks like, but I would imagine that was probably pretty close. What gets me is the
I would say
hand.
so.
Just amazing the size. So, but like I said, we choke to death on something like that. And if this animal is able to take large chunks like that and just swallow them down in a passing, I bet you it makes you wonder how much one can they eat. Two,
Right.
what all if you wonder what kind of nutritional value, how we have to have so many proteins and so many this and that, for a healthy diet. It makes you wonder how much they have to eat just to be able to sustain themselves. And deer is definitely one of the
Right.
bigger out there. A lot of meat.
I don't know. It really doesn't make sense to me why it's not processed more. It's kind of weird. I don't know. Maybe we'll know when we dissect one, I guess, if it's public and actually have a body and stuff, because that's when we actually begin to realize what they actually are and what makes them is the inside, the outside, and also actually observing them physically doing stuff too, because we have no observation of what they actually do every day besides scaring us and making us run out of the woods and more cryptid things they do. But I'm more interested in what they do in their pastime or what they do in their downtime when they're not messing with us. So
Looking for us to mess with.
right.
You got to imagine that you're out in the woods all day long. It gets monotonous. It's going to get boring. Anything that comes along out there is going to catch your interest, whether it's a new bird squeaking that you've never heard before or a human out on a four-wheeler. Things like that are going to catch anything's interest. A lot of the species will run away from it, but deer will even sit there and stare at you for a long time until they feel threatened. They're curious too. Everything out there is wolves will come right in on you. Not just because they want to hurt you or eat you or anything, but because they're an extremely curious creature. And I think that's why it's so nice that they fit so well with the Bigfoot because you get the hunting ability from both of them. They're both fast. They can both take down prey. But then you got the curiosity part of both of them too. Like I said, everybody says Bigfoots will do this, 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 and this, and they say that's part of their character because of the curiosity that they have. And I understand that chimpanzees are the same thing. They'll walk up, they want to know everything, poke at it, do everything. So my thinking with the Bigfoot, with the wolf, and that friendship, companionship, and hunting. Those are kind of things that I always thought about after thinking about, with that specific incident. there was no trying to hurt each other. It wasn't there. Obviously, the Bigfoot could have left at any time because it separated itself with such a speed. It just was sitting still while it was still on full run, a full gallop. But yeah, my theories is they need a good companionship. We got a dog. I let my dog. We go out in the woods
Right.
and do her thing. She helps me with certain things. It's no different than the Sasquatch. If you're able to communicate and relay what you want something to do, there's no stopping how far you can go with a pet, a creature, a hunting partner, or whatever you want to call it. So all I know is that's what I've seen. That's what was there. I've got witnesses to it, so I'm not the only one that was crazy in the truck that day. There was three of us that all saw it. Kind of neat. Like I said, I know kind of the behavior of wolves, or I've raised a few of them before. We used to have a couple of pure white wolves that, when I was younger, we raised them. So you get used to the character and, what they're doing, their playful moods when they're not playing, if they're in a gallop or a full out run, things like that, like watching your dog. You know what your dog's doing and how it's feeling just by watching its behavior. Oh, it ain't no different from a Bigfoot and a wolf, I wouldn't imagine. That's the only thing I could think of. Friendship, companionship, or hunting, just like we do.
Yeah. Yeah, it makes sense, especially if they found it as a pup. I mean, you can raise almost any animal to make it like you if you find it as a baby. Then some animals get more wild and stuff, but they do recognize you at the very least.
Oh yeah, for sure. Oh, you're scent for one thing, or your pet
Yep.
will legitimately your scent. I wonder too if they could do that out in the woods. I'm in that area all the time, and I've probably been through that trail at least 1,000 times, at least 1,000 times, and I've seen it twice on that same trail. It makes me wonder how many times I've walked past or drove past there, and they're sitting there just checking me out. They don't feel I'm a threat or something, or you get used to anything being in an area. If it doesn't hurt you, you don't consider it a threat. And at that point, you would maybe
Right.
make yourself more vulnerable by being seen by it. I don't know why it ran out in front of me. Honestly, God, no. It did, and I saw it, and that's what I saw, but I have no idea why. I don't think we'll ever figure that one out until we can literally study them, figure out if they have a speech. A lot of people say that they have an ancient speech. I've heard them, they've had this type of a click talk, and I've heard all that. Don't know any of that, but I'd like to find out. I'd like to be able to learn the communications or what things that they do daily, like a daily event. We get up, we brush our teeth, we get our bowl of cereal, head to work, and come home. They would have to have some type of thing every day. I don't care if it's getting up, finding your berries, or posting a century with your kids while you go out in the swamp and look for food. It's got to be the same thing. Uh, Obviously, they can reproduce. Obviously, there's both genders, male and female. I've heard people very specific on that one. Sarah Squatch, things like that. So you start putting in a minute. You got a family or a family group now. It'd just be nice to sit down and watch them, study them. I don't know if we'll ever have that ability, though. To be honest with you, I'd like to. I'd like to see how the wolf interacts with the family. Uh, we my kids, dog, and play fetch and things like that with it. Is it the same kind of things for Bigfoots and wolves? Little stupid things like
Right.
that make about all the time, but someday we might get the answer. I hope.
Yeah, if we were able to film Sasquatch doing anything else other than hiding behind a tree, people might actually take it seriously if they see a Sasquatch interacting and doing its other non-cryptic things. They might say, "Wow, this is a real animal. It's not just tree peeking, or it's not running away. It's not doing the famous paddy turn. It's digging for grubs. It's communicating. It's interacting with its other animals or stuff like that." Filming
Nice
something like that would be amazing and prove it, I believe, pretty fast.
Right. It'd be nice to find a way to communicate, or at least find out where they live. there's so many different theories on that too. Caves, underground tunnels, bear dens. They sleep right on the ground. They build their own. I mean, there's so many different things everybody says.
Yeah, I'm kind of leaning towards underground karsts or river systems that go underground and caves.
Great.
More and more, I'm leaning towards that.
Yeah, same.
I used to think they just sleep on the ground, but now I really think they go underground.
After finding the structure, I don't know whether it's just they go underground because it's convenient and they have someplace, or are they building these little structures like this? This is the only one. It's not the only teepee structure I found in the area. It's just the only one of that size and proportion. So you know that they're putting up little structures, but what are they for? Like you're saying, is it
Right.
just to camp out for the night? We go camping. I ain't gonna be home. I'm gonna be in the woods. That's too far to get back. Is it a hunting thing? Do they go out and hunt? Is there a couple of them, a team that goes out and hunts, and they need a little lodge? Or, is it a birthing place? We don't know. I don't know. I can speculate all day. I wish I had the answers, but I don't. All I know is there's a big hairy creature out there running around making some big structures with some big feet. That's all I know.
That's the only structure I've ever seen that would actually keep you out of the elements for a Sasquatch. I've seen all the structures I found. There's not enough cover. It doesn't really provide any significant, even hunting blind. Maybe it'll break out their outline, some of them, but yours, I mean, a birthing area. I mean, they're very comfortable out of the elements. It's hard to say. It's the only one I've ever seen that I think a Sasquatch made that actually would go in there and be comfortable.
Well, it had the size and the coverage. That's what I was saying. All the little trees that they pulled in and out of there, that can be waterproofing or, water funneling or waterproofing. I don't know. But I've never seen anything like that. Like I said, the part that gets me is where it pulled all those little trees in and just wove them through everything else. I mean, who does that? Some of those things are hard to even pull. You guys have seen it. You know what's going on.
Yeah.
Exactly. And well, the evidence around it. If you got footprints, you casted them. I mean, that right there, that should, the BFR that name when they came out, they should have documented. It should have made news throughout the community of verified tracks with Sasquatch made a structure. There's literally tracks showing where it pulled the whole tree root out of the ground.
And
it don't get better than that.
Yeah, I say we document it pretty well too with all the.
You guys did amazing. I mean, I'll show the picture again of it. Literally, this is the spot right here. It's standing there. You can't. It's kind of hard to tell, but there's a hole right there, right where that fresh greenery is, right in front of the feet. That was ripped up and placed into the structure. I mean, it doesn't get much better than that, and that could have been direct documentation that the BFRO could have, said finally there's proof of Bigfoot interacting, making a structure, but they dropped the ball big time, or they weren't allowed to. I should say they weren't allowed to do that.
You figure if you're going out and that's what your whole purpose is for, why would you walk away from that? Something doesn't exist and you find it. That's like a whole new species to me. I want to know, especially if that's my field, if that's my area of study, and I'm saying it doesn't exist, and somebody pops off with pictures and prints, verified, hand prints, feet prints. There's what do you call that? We ran lights. I didn't. The BFRO, a couple of their guys, when they came through there, ran red and blue lights or black and purple lights, something like that.
Oh, black light.
Yeah, they're trying to look for what do you call that? Biomatter.
Yeah, DNA or something.
Yeah, something
just
like that.
Fluids and stuff.
Fluids. Yeah, you can see fluids like that. with the lights and that, and it was all over inside the structure there. I don't know if it was urine or whatever it was, but there was enough in there that it lit the whole thing up. It looked like a
Did they collect any of that? Did they collect any soil samples? Did they drop in the ball? I mean, there's environmental DNA. I mean, I know you guys didn't do it either, but you also are not the BFRO.
Yeah,
and weren't
we didn't know
fully
what we were
prepared
doing.
with the whole team that went out there with the whole goal of
You
doing
gotta
that.
remember,
I mean,
it doesn't exist.
Yeah.
right.
Yep.
You can't take samples of something that doesn't exist. That was built by a couple of kids, as far as I'm concerned. It just gets
Well, and it's another a testament towards the higher ups, I should say, or some members who disregard blatant evidence or they don't verify evidence. Because if you watch
They don't have any other evidence of it.
Bigfoot Okinawan's latest 2 videos of Matt Moneymaker basically saying the best Sasquatch tracks of 2020 turned out to be moose, and turned out what he said the witnesses said was a lie, and paints a very bad light on their group. But it only verifies experiences from a lot of people who've had bad experiences from them, because I don't know, it shows.
That group's something else. They've never found anything. You know, and I'm not saying I got lucky with the things I found. A lot of them people don't.
Yeah, we all do.
Brockman himself went and you know, we're all susceptible to somebody being a host. He felt susceptible himself. Made what?
That's right, he did.
Cast almost 100 prints and then realized they're not real. So we all can fall victim to something like that. But I'm sure now he's learned a few things. And however, you're not going to learn unless you study. Make your mistakes, but study. You've got this sitting here. I've personally wrote to Moneymaker. I personally talked with all the big people that should have an interest in that. And when they're sitting there saying it doesn't exist, yet you won't get off your butt to come and look at something that's physically sitting right in front of you, you can look at it then to try to figure out whether or not you think it's real or what you think made it. But at least take a chance, look at it. You might find something else that I didn't. There's things that those prints, I didn't even find those prints. Chuck Sutherland found them prints, to be honest with you.
Yeah, he looked down on the ground, and was like, hey, look, there's prints right here.
Yep. Wasn't even me.
Right.
BFRO, they found a print on the other side. I found a print. Both of them matched, both of them in the same direction. They weren't castable, but little things like that were found. They've come out, they did their thing. When the BFRO comes out, they just send their little guy who does their little investigations. And to be honest with you, they're going to have to start. The BFRO hires or gets people to come out and do things that just flat doesn't have the experience. They might have the knowledge of Bigfoot, only what they've learned, read, or been told. But their field experience needs to be a little bit more. They need to be a little more critical of things. And when they take a report, be a little more specific. Don't be so wrong things and use your own words in there. They do little things like that, and that kind of throws me off with the BFRO. They had a beautiful opportunity, and they pissed it away. So I don't know if they just don't want it. Or just
I think it's just some heads up and the head of the main man himself. Whatever he says goes, and if orbs attached to it, there's a UFO, that's not going to get added to any reports. It's not going to get anyway. If you don't like it, it probably doesn't get added at all. So it's unfortunate.
They put my full. Go ahead, Jace.
I was gonna say, when we went up to the UP and saw Cliff and Meldrum, and we told them about the structure and the footprints were found around it, and also hair sample. Cliff he said there was no evidence against structures and Bigfoot being related, but he said after seeing our stuff, he was open to it being a thing.
Exactly. Because there's no documentation until bills that I know of.
Yeah.
Well, they just authenticated it. It's kind of hard to go back and say, well, it doesn't exist or it's not real after you sat there and authenticated print.
Yeah,
Right.
but
I mean,
he authenticated the print, not the structure itself. He'd probably have to go there and check it out for himself.
Right. And again, there's no official correlation accepted by at least the heads up. Everywhere else in the community, it's accepted. And Bill's is a prime example with Prince. I mean, the list goes on and on that
so much
could have proved it. The BFRO really would have done their job.
Yeah.
If you're wanting to prove something, and you know, I always find the most exciting things to find are the ones that don't exist. You know, and going out and finding that special car that is just not there, and you drive it home, it's in your driveway, it's hard to deny it. Well, it's the same thing if you're looking for something like this and somebody finds it. You can't sit there and say it doesn't because it's there. You can say, it might not be this or it's possible it's this or that, but you can't say it doesn't exist. If you're wanting to find that, say you're wanting to, I mean, that's your whole thing. To prove the existence of something, you got to freaking show that you spent, 11 years, 10 years trying to find something and somebody's handing it to you on a platter. You're not going to eat it. That's right. You just dropped the ball.
If they were like still doing the show, they probably would have, but they don't really have any value in going out there and checking it out, or at least Matt confirming it.
Their guys have seen it. Their other people have seen it. They all agree that man didn't make it. Yet it's not gone anywhere with them, and I'm past that now anyway. Like I said, I gave the BFRO a good weekend, showed them a couple things, and what they do from there, that's on them. We got a bunch of crew here. We got a good group of people here in Michigan. Between the different groups, collaborate enough to come up with some pretty significant finds, and then we get them out there in the public. But the problem is everybody's going to have to start working together. Until you do, anybody going to want to listen to it? There ain't no crew race team's going to win if your driver ain't communicating with your crew chief, if your crew chief ain't committing or talking with your spotter. It takes a collaboration of everything to make something work, and you get the right amount of people or the right group of people. And I think we're getting really close with a lot of that for the state. Once you get that, you can start processing things yourself and saying, okay, this is this, this is that, and then you're giving credence to it, but you're also going to be believable, and you're going to be finding things. Once you start putting all these things in order, guys, I think Michigan is going to have a lot more information, a lot more evidence, things that could be learned from. But it's going to take, a good collaboration of people to put it out there in just the right way for everybody to realize and recognize that it's true, it's real, and it's there. We just didn't have that. We haven't had that yet. We're
trying.
Out of Washington.
Right. I think we're going the right directions. I know what you got going on, what Chuck is going on, and here, Lost Cryptids, and I know there's other groups up north. Michigan's beginning to feel a lot more friendly territory than just competition. Like other places, I mean, you got people that just straight up hate each other and won't flat out refuse to help each other, which is a detriment, and it keeps them that same level. But we're just trying to go above and above, keep going and going and going, and we're trying to make Michigan more well known than it is. If you look at the charts, it's like number 7 on the list of top sightings, and it's very underrated. People don't think Sasquatch in Michigan, especially lower Michigan, but
that's what I thought when I started doing it. So
and that's kind of what we're throwing the conference out here, that the Michigan Bigfoot Conference is going to be in Ann Arbor, Michigan, and we want to we're inviting everyone. We're inviting the woo side, the flesh and blood side, super skeptic side. I mean, everyone's coming in because everyone's having experiences. It's happening, and we want the collaboration to happen. We want to be a part of it and see it happen. And
really so much to
It's a
woo.
great opportunity.
So, but at the same token, everybody gets together and they still agree that it exists.
Right.
There's common ground right there. And as long as you have common ground, you can build upon that. And God knows what you can go from there. But common ground. Everybody start getting together, putting it. Here's another thing that kills me. When you're in a Bigfoot group, I'm in several of them. You'll see one thing go through this group, and it's the holy grail of finds, and then it goes to another group, and oh, that's just somebody's dog taking a walk, and
Yeah.
everybody's so fast to put down everybody else's evidence. I'll admit there's some things that probably don't need to be shown. If it's not legible to you, here's what I tell everybody: if you're going to put a picture out, hand it to your best friend and say, "What do you see here?" If they tell you exactly the same thing that you're wanting everybody to see, post it. If they don't see it themselves, or if you have to put a circle around it with an arrow saying what it is, it's not worth it. The picture should speak for themselves. And it's this, kind of the same thing with, you got to start giving each other credit. You can't just sit there and say, I didn't collect the evidence, it's fake, or you made that track up yourself. You don't know unless you see somebody doing it. So until we start giving each other a little bit of pass, or at least communicating to the point without an argument, or saying a person's a liar, or this guy's a fraud, or that's a fake, nothing's going to get done. You can't, if you can't stop arguing between yourselves, how are you going to have anybody else listen to you and believe you? And it's hard. That's what I've noticed a lot of the problems with Michigan up here is you got a lot of that, for tat thing, but everybody's too quick to shoot down everybody else's stuff. It's just that simple.
Yeah.
I mean,
that's why. Finish your thought. Go ahead.
I was saying, until everybody can get along and agree, at least on one common thing, it's just going to be so hard to do this. That's what I've realized over the years. It's just so hard to get everybody to agree with anything if they didn't find it. You know what I mean? I'm probably the same.
Right. They get jealous and stuff that everyone wants to be the one. Well, I mean, who cares? Let's just move it so we can, so we ourselves can say, yeah, I see. I told you all these times. I told you my story. You didn't believe me. I'm right. See.
Yeah.
But yeah, and that's why you don't see many pictures from us coming out, because we don't post anything with circles, or we don't want to anyways. We kind of want it to be legible and easily seen.
Right. Yeah. This picture should speak for itself. I have seen a couple pictures where I didn't know what I was looking at, but after I was shown where to look on the picture, that was a huge help. Things like that.
But yeah, most definitely.
That's just giving you a general idea of where to look, but your eyes are still making it out for what it is. You're not having to, be shown this is an ear, an eye, a nose, a leg. You don't need that. But yeah, I agree with you. We got to start figuring something out with the state. And another thing too is that we don't have, and I don't know anybody that has a fast response team that can get to you within 24 to 48 hours. But then again, if you did, how do you weed those out? How do you say this one's believable? I can jump on this one, and this one's not believable. I'm not.
What we did, and when we do technically have a response team ready to go, but we don't have the recognition for people to call us to get hold of us yet. So that's the problem we're facing. But when we sent the team out and they took the interview, we had Val and Dave, two ex-retired law enforcement and federal people, and who are trained to kind of pick up on that stuff. So we're relying on what they know and what techniques and stuff they're teaching us to find out if these witnesses are actually telling the truth, they're fabricating, stuff like that. But that's what we're trying to do, is this response team. But it's the recognition is not there. Everyone goes to the BFRO, which should not be the person you should be going to, unless they step up their game quite a bit.
I don't say that. Good luck to them. I hope you make the major breakthrough.
I mean,
I don't care
That's
who
how everyone I got started from the BFRO. That was the only information from, late 90s, early 2000 was them. Some smaller people, but all the information was through them. So it's
Well, it's nice now to see that. They may have been the first and originals, but now you've got so many different other groups. And
Right.
if you can just get the word BFRO and go on, it'd be so much nicer. I think everybody would have, there'd be more ground everybody could, get together on instead
Right.
of having to come back and say, well, BFRO says this. No, I don't even want to hear BFRO say that anymore. I just want to hear whatever.
Yeah, it's sad, especially this last little thing that's happened. If anyone has not watched it, Bigfoot Okinawan YouTube channel with Leon, he made the videos about these cats and these moose tracks basically, and it's very eye opening to what they kind of do or what they don't do. I guess is verify, and verify. So, but with that, guys, it's been over 2 hours. So, awesome show with a good friend Bill and the caller kid himself, James.
Yep, thanks for having us.
Yeah, of course. Definitely gonna have you guys back on soon, of course, and we'll be putting out more videos now that I'm at my new place and stuff. So hopefully, as you can tell, better connections and stuff. So good things are coming, and we're gonna get out in the field soon. And
hope to see you guys soon.
great stuff. Yeah.
Stay after we ended, by the way.
What's that?
Without further ado,
I said, can you stay after so we can talk?
This is the outro with Gabe's saxophone solo, guitar solo, my bass riffs, and everything else. So see y'all later.